If you are struggling to convert your leads from your Facebook ads, I know exactly how you feel. I've spent over £100,000 on advertising and I made a ton of mistakes. So in this video, I'm going to break down all the tips and tricks that you need to convert those cold leads into buyers. Now, I can almost bet you've tried a ton of different things before because I literally did the same thing. You know, I was dialing all my leads like they say you should. I was getting a virtual assistant to dial my leads, to text my leads, to WhatsApp my leads, to email my leads. I've hired call centers. I've hired agencies. I've literally tried every little step that you could think of. And it all came down to a few simple aspects. And to be honest, I finally found the best way to do this. And it's probably not what you think. So let's get into it. The first thing is, you'll be surprised. Most people have no clue who you are. They saw your ad somewhere and they thought, this is a good idea. I'm going to click it. And then you let that lead into your funnel and into your system. They then began to consume some of your content and maybe they decided if it was for them or if it wasn't. It's really that simple. And obviously it really does depend on what type of ad you're trying to run. But most of the time for service-based business owners, you're trying to optimize to get a sales call booked so you can obviously sell your service. But because of the mere fact that the person doesn't know who you are, sort of like dating, you need to focus on building trust. And that literally starts within your ad. Nowadays, everyone's ads are very, very similar. If you're in the online space and you've done like coaches and courses, you've probably seen someone make the same ad about 50 times. So you have to look at your compares and think, how can you make the ad a little bit different? And I'll use another dating analogy. Imagine everyone walked into the club and every single guy in the club looked the same. They got the same haircut, they got the same white shirt, literally the same trousers, the same shoes. If you're a woman, you'll be a bit confused, like, who should I pick? They all look the same. So you need something in your advert that helps you to stand out and just be, a little bit different. I ain't saying you got to go all the way left, but you got to stand out just a tad. Even the way that you speak, even what you say in your ad, it's very important that you stand out from the rest so that you are more likely to get that click. Because when we're running ads, what are we doing? We're trying to get the click. Another aspect that goes underrated is educating. So the traditional way and the way that we used to think about doing ads is, well, I run an ad, someone opts in, they give me their email, their phone number, and then I send them YouTube videos, I send them content, I try to get them to become educated before they book a call. On top of that, I would also try and send them to a landing page that has a video on it. And that's all fine and dandy. That sounds great. But one thing that was missing is that, well, why don't we just educate them within the ad? Like, it's a simple concept, right? But just educate them within the actual ad itself. And that actually helps you stand out even more because most people are so used to getting battered with the same ad that's telling them to book a call or buy this service. But instead, you need to actually demonstrate why they should show interest, why they should buy your service, what makes your service different to others. And if you can do that within the ad itself, then there's less heavy lifting that your follow-up system has to do. But now that leads me to another thing. It's your actual follow-up itself. You see, when it comes to follow-up, you need to think of it like this. Sometimes human beings are busy. Mothers, dads. I want you to think of follow-up a bit like this. The old tale of the tortoise and the hare, right? Slow and steady always wins the race. And some of you are like the hare. You want things now. You want to win right now. You want money right now. You want to just do everything right now. Some people are like the tortoise. Very slow, very methodical, but consistent. And that's what your follow-up needs to be like. If you didn't know, most sales are made after 7 follow-up attempts. 7. Most people give up after 2 or 3. So we have to be consistent with our follow-up and we can't be afraid of our follow-up. So when I say that, you can't be worried about bugging somebody or feeling like, you're annoying them, especially when you're running ads, because ultimately these people don't know you. And if we think of it in a space of time, they've just got to know you. And at this point, we want them to really get to know us. We got to fill that gap with as much content as humanly possible. So here's how I like to follow up. First things first, someone opts into my ad, they're getting an email, they're getting a text message, and they're getting a WhatsApp. And I'll probably look at them on Instagram as well, just to see if I can drop them a DM. They're all in the same place. That is the first thing when I'm running an ad. And this ad is obviously optimized to book sales calls, capture leads, right? Within that text message, there's a few things I like to do. Number 1 is actually I resend them the landing page link that they should have got after they submitted their form. So it's a simple text message and it will say something like this. Hey James, just saw you were interested in growing your business. By the way, I'm not sure if you saw the video on the page, but here's the link. Boom. Right? Then I actually have a delay on my workflow for 30 seconds and I drop them another message saying, oh, by the way, James, is this the right email? Then I tag their email within that message just to make sure that they see it and also to get them to respond to me. That's really the only reason I do that, is to get them to respond to me. So that's two things, because I want them to see the landing page, but I also want to get a conversation started. It's not all about trying to make money instantly. It's also about having a conversation. So that follow-up message is sneaky because obviously I've got their email. but I'm just double checking to make sure it's the right email so I can have a proper conversation with them. So that's that. All in the background, they're getting an email, and that email is again sending them to the landing page. I'm optimizing everything for the landing page to try and get a booked call. And then while that's happening, I also call my leads. Now, we've now got to the point where we have integrated AI and we have an AI voice agent call our leads, but obviously people are aware of that because they know that we are an AI focused business. So they're a bit more receptive to it. If you are going to use an AI voice agent, you need to train the AI voice agent. You need to be very diligent with the voice AI agent. And ultimately, you need to focus on making sure that you test it enough. And that agent, the good thing about it is it doesn't sleep, it doesn't get sick, it doesn't ask for extra pay, it just does its job. So it calls the leads and it qualifies them. And that is very, very critical, saves us a ton of time, and it's very, very powerful in this process, because if you can call your lead within 5 minutes, you are more likely to get them booked in for a sales call. And that is obviously what we call speed to lead. If you didn't know what that is, go on Google, you should know about that, especially if you're in sales. Now, what's my cadence of follow-up? Some people are going to sit here and say, oh, you shouldn't do every day. Some people are going to say, hey, you need to do every day. I'm actually out in Dubai right now. And I don't know if you guys have ever been caught up in those people trying to sell you property and the real estate agents. But one of my friends, he decided to give someone his phone number and his email. The real estate agent called him 10 times in one day. 10 times. Now, I'm not saying that you got to call your leads 10 times in one day, but I'm just letting you know the level of follow-up that some people are doing, some other businesses are doing, some other industries are doing. So with that being said, you need to focus on making sure you have at least 7 to 14 touch points in the first 7 to 10 days. And that doesn't just mean calling. That could be calling, WhatsApp, SMS, email. In that time frame, 7 to 14 touch points is all you need. And that's what we shoot for. That's what we aim for, so that we can ensure that we have at least maximized our chances of having a conversation. And when we do this, our number one goal is to try and speed up consumption, right? They need to understand our process as much as possible. So that's why we do one more thing, and that is create stuff like this, YouTube videos. The key to these YouTube videos is to teach, provide value, and ultimately help someone get closer to crossing the line to working with me. And the way that I like to do this is I think of it like, what's all the issues that someone has in their business and how can I solve it? And I'm just going to make YouTube videos about it. It's really that simple. I don't overcomplicate it. I don't make it any more difficult than it needs to be. I want to keep it as simple as that. So you need to make as many YouTube videos as humanly possible. And then you need to send your leads all your videos every single week. We are now at the stage where we're posting 1 to 2 videos a week. We send them out. Very, very simple. It's not too complicated. It's not too difficult. That's literally it. That's the game. We just make the videos, send them out. That's it. Bang. Okay. And we want to try and get someone to consume 3 to 4 YouTube videos before booking a call with us. That's actually the ideal scenario, because for us, that gets them to the stage where they know a lot more about the business and how we operate before even talking to us, which means that the conversation is a lot more smoother. It's a lot more comfortable. That's really the game. That's the gameplay from there, right? So now you've got the leads, you've messaged the leads, you've called the leads, you've texted the leads, you sent them YouTube videos, and they may have still not bought from you. Now, you've got 2 ways you can look at this. You can quit, you can be a loser, or you can think, how can I capture someone's attention? If you've ever read a book in your life, you'll know that people have different learning styles. Some people are visual learners. Some people are audio learners. Some people are practical learners. They have to do things there and then. So you have to think about providing different modes of learning, different modes of nurturing, which leads us to workshops. You've got 2 ways you can do this: live webinar workshops, in-person workshops. To caveat this, in-person, it's going to require a lot more work in terms of setting things up, getting people to come to a physical location, but your conversion is always going to be higher. Online, easier setup. You can do them way more frequently, but you're going to see a lower sharp rate, which means less people are actually going to be present. They both work and they both are very, very powerful. And we host a workshop every 2 weeks, sometimes once a month. And then we do an in-person workshop every 2 months. We always convert off the back of all of these methods. However, we have found that in-person workshops just have a higher return, but it is very, very time intensive. And the setup process is what puts most people off. The webinars and workshops do make money, but you need to know what to put into the webinar workshop. And again, that's going to be based on how well you know your audience, the biggest problems that you solve, and obviously coming up with a format on your workshop to make sure that you can get sales. If you'd like me to make a full video on how we do workshops, drop a comment below and I will create a video on this. And it works across all niches: coaches, consultants, recruitment agencies. It doesn't matter what you do. I'm telling you that this can work. And when you do your workshop, it's very, very important that you promote that workshop to that same list of leads that you've got from your Facebook ads. And then lastly, there's certain things that happen throughout the year, right? Christmas, Black Friday, New Year's, Valentine's Day, Mother's Day, Father's Day. You should have your special offers ready to go. You shouldn't be waiting to do special offers like 2 days before a special day. No, plan your marketing calendar for the whole year so you know when your next special offer is coming. It might be one for the summer. It might be Halloween. It might be Black Friday. But your special offers should be planned out at least 6 months ahead of time so you know exactly what you're going to do and what you're going to offer. And again, you do it via email, WhatsApp. You just let your list know. Don't be ashamed to let people know about what's happening. It needs to be organized and systematic. And with all the follow-up systems, that's how you convert people that don't know you. Now, you might be thinking, great, that's all fine and dandy, Jav. You made it sound easy. But how do I put all of this in place? Look, none of this will work if you don't have good ads to get the right leads in the first place. So coming up with a killer ad is really, really important. But even more importantly is what you say in that ad. So I made a quick video that breaks down how to script your ads and convert loads and loads of leads. It's actually how I booked 60 sales calls in a month. If you want to know the exact system that I use to script my leads, just watch this video right here. Peace.